everyone out in Facebook world and Instagram world. Lives. We also have a discount, and I added the discount code because people are always like, what's the discount code? And then I'll get talking and then they don't know how to access the kit. So if you're interested in getting your hormones tested, we have a great way to do that. So we have a saliva test that can test your estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. So if you've ever wanted your hormone levels checked, or you've asked a doctor, and gosh, it's been a long day, I'm a little disheveled, and you've asked a doctor to check your hormones and they've said stupid things like it's not necessary, then that's what we do. So I'm just kind of straightening up everything here a little bit. So yeah, so I'll just kind of share this with you. If you go to hormonebliss.com, you can order a saliva test kit. And basically once you get the kit, looks like this, you put your saliva in the tube and then you fill out the test requisition and you put, if you're on hormones now, so if you're even on hormones now and you feel like they're not working or they're not balanced, then let us help you. Shannon, how long does it take to get the results? So it is usually about 10 to 12 days once you send it in through UPS. So once you do the test and put the saliva in, you put it in the mailer, you slap on the UPS, and you send it in. So that process takes about 10 to 12 days. It's relatively quick. We've been killing the lab with test kits lately, so they're catching up to us. And it was taking a few extra days, but they're golden now. So if you want to get the test kit, we have, when we do these pop-ins, the code is FLASH50, and you can get the hormone test kit for only $50, which is less expensive than our price to actually run the labs, what the lab charges us. So, and if you go online, you'll find that saliva testing, or if you've gone to pharmacies near you, it's $300 or $400. In fact, we just had a lady the other day who said that she paid almost $400 for that same test that we do for $50. So yes, absolutely. To answer your question, there is a test requisition, and you put, if you're currently on hormones, but make sure you put exactly what you are on, because that's part of our algorithm when we run it. And that's how we know if you're on hormones and you're not feeling good. We can look at what your levels are. And the whole plan, the reason we have this so inexpensive to do the testing is because we have a subscription plan where we do bioidentical hormones. So we want to show you what your levels are and dose you for bioidentical hormones. And that visit with you is included to dose your bioidentical hormones. So for $50, you not only get the test, but you get the results and you get a plan for dosing your bioidenticals. So hi, Loida. Glad to see you here. Certain time of day that's better to do the test. Usually first thing in the morning. So you can do it anytime, but usually it's because it's saliva, you don't want food in your mouth. So usually first thing in the morning is safe to do that, but just at least 4 hours in between time. It's in between eating, but it's not like cortisol where it fluctuates throughout the day. So anytime is good. Age range. So I'm not sure what you mean by age range, but we can test hormones from anybody from 2 to 200. Just kidding. No, but we have some women who do it for their daughters who are 9 years old. And then as far as age range for menopause and treating hormones, you can be 90. I had a patient one time that was 92. So yeah, you can be any age. Loida, I'm so glad to see you here. Yay. How are things going? Are you doing all right? We had a little trouble with poor Loida and the postal service, but I think hopefully we're on track with all that. So yeah, so when you order a test kit, you can put what hormones you're on here. And if you are not happy with your current situation, we will look at that as well. Are you 75? I'm 56. Can you keep track of my age? Because I don't really think about it, but I'm 56, yes. Okay, so, and then you put whether you're still having menstrual cycles, whether you've had a hysterectomy, if you are having menstrual cycles, are they regular? And then there's over 30 symptoms on here. So here's the deal. If you go to a doctor and you have over 30 symptoms, and a lot of women have all of the symptoms, and you say, I don't feel good, I have frozen shoulder, I have hip pain, I'm gaining weight and I'm not doing anything different, I'm starting to forget things, I'm having hot flashes and night sweats. And then when you say hot flashes, they're like, oh, okay, that's menopause. Here's some hormones. We're just going to give you the lowest dose possible because hormones cause cancer, and all the things they say that are just not true, just not accurate. And you might have constipation, or your bowels are changing, heart palpitations. Oprah said not too long ago on a special that she didn't realize that her racing heart was from undiagnosed and untreated menopause. And she said she actually had to stop doing the Oprah book club because her heart was racing so much and it was incapacitating for her. So I thought that was really cool that she brought that to the forefront. Sugar cravings, allergies, chemical sensitivities. All of a sudden you can't drink wine anymore because hormones affect how your liver processes things. Vaginal dryness, low libido. So all of those things, hair loss, hearing loss, dry mouth. We had a lady the other day, she said her teeth were crumbling and falling out because you start to lose hydration to your gums because estrogen hydrates everything. It doesn't actually hydrate. What it does is it increases the collagen, it increases the blood flow. So all of those things affect hydration and affect the ability for those tissues to get oxygen and to grow. And women lose about 30% of their collagen after the first year that you stop having periods. And the reason you stop having periods at menopause is because as a baby girl, and I have this model, these are ovaries, and as a baby girl, you are born with all the eggs you're ever going to have in your ovaries. And then as you age, about the age of 30, you're down to about half the eggs, and about the age of 50, they're done. Completely dries up. You have no ovarian hormones. And in fact, if it's been 6 months or a year and you check your hormones with our kit, they'll be almost zero unless you're on something. Do you get medical history and medication lists? Absolutely, we do. Dog Mom 3, love it. We absolutely do. So yes, you put all of your medical history on here. You put any hormones that you're on or medications that you're on. And then the coolest thing is our lab has this. It's kind of like, so it rates your symptoms 0 through 3. And remember when you were a kid and you had to fill in the answers on a test in the little circles and little pencils? That's what it does. And the computer runs that algorithm and it puts a whole symptom profile together, because some women don't even know that these symptoms are menopause symptoms. And so you just kind of slough it off because, again, if you go to a doctor with all these symptoms, they're going to think you're crazy. And they're going to offer you an antidepressant or a sleeping pill or an anxiety pill or frozen shoulder. They're just going to send you off to maybe get surgery or physical therapy. And really what you need is hormones. Because here's the deal. I don't know if you can see this graph, but this is your hormone levels over here. It's backwards for me because I have my camera flipped. But these are your hormone levels when you're in your 30s, 30, 45, 50. And then once your ovaries run out of eggs, now you completely flatline. So this is where hormone replacement therapy comes in. And bioidentical hormones, BHRT, is completely different than HRT. So I just want to kind of put that to rest, that these are not synthetic hormones that we do. What is a troche? So a troche is hormones that are in either a sugar cube or they can be a round tablet that dissolve under your tongue, which are great because they go straight into your bloodstream without going through the liver through the oral form. Sense of balance has been really off for 6 months, actually fell last week. Can this be a symptom? Absolutely, cactus flower, it sure can. So what happens is the inner ear is fed by blood vessels and nerves. And when you lose your estrogen, and this is why everything happens, this is why you get cancer when you have no hormones. That's why you get dementia, broken hips. You very rarely see a woman in her 30s break a hip unless it's traumatic and car wreck or something like that. And women who break hips after menopause, a lot of times, and this is crazy, the hip breaks because the bones are so fragile and then they fall. So it's not even like they fell and broke a hip. So absolutely. So, oh, good. Just ordered. I love it. So make sure you use the code FLASH50 and that makes the kit only $50, plain Jane style. I love that. So very important for prevention of all sorts of disease. So she was talking about the kit. So to order a test kit, you just go to hormonebliss.com and then you put in the code FLASH50 and it's only $50. So you just put your saliva in the tube. You fill out the test requisition, anything that you're on, medications, all the symptoms, and then you rate the symptoms, and then we make a profile. Once we get the test results, then we reach out to you and go over your test results, and then we can dose bioidentical hormones. And we have a subscription plan. So it includes your hormones. It includes working with you and adjusting your levels and getting everything balanced. So that is my passion and not everybody's easy, but to get balance right away. But pretty much within the first few days, you'll get to feeling better. And then sometimes it takes a few weeks to months to really get it all balanced. Yay, Angela. I'm so excited. I just, I had an awareness today. It was just one of those moments. And they were taking out bags full of test kits and hormone kits. And I just said a little prayer. I was just like, thank you, God, so much that I've been able to have this impact on women that our team has had. I can't claim that because my beautiful fiance, who's my moderator, works tirelessly to support me, and he has been out looking for a bigger building so that we can accommodate all the staff that we have. So it takes a village, right? So it's super, super exciting. And he's saying, please follow Dr. Tammy. He's my biggest fan. I love it. His whole Facebook page. Oh, it's heaven sent. Thank you, Elaine. So yeah, he's all of his Facebook page used to be filled with, pictures of like family and all the things. And now it's like Dr. Tammy. So thank you, honey. That's my nice way of saying thank you. So yes, I'm so glad you feel that way, Elaine, too. We love you so much. And you're such a big supporter. I love it. So I'm here to answer your questions. And I've just been kind of rambling on for a little bit. Difference of doing troches versus topicals. So one of the things with troches is you have to be very careful because some of it does get swallowed because it's in your mouth. So if you have any sort of risk, and these are bioidentical, so it's totally different, but especially with synthetic hormones, you do not want to swallow them and get processed through your liver because clotting factors can get induced. And then you can also have erratic distribution of the hormones as your liver's processing them. So you really have to be very careful with that, especially if you've had a cancer history or anything like that. So that's why we like the topical creams. Very consistent, get into the tissues very nicely. The levels are really easy to track in the saliva testing. So we really like it. And our worldwide program, we just found out we're worldwide and not just nationwide, is based on the creams because they are so safe and easy to dose. Test tomorrow. Do you prescribe just creams or patches? So we just do the creams in our Bliss program, again, just because it is so easy to dose them. And when I formulated these, oh, Sherry, yeah. So she said, I see regarding swallowing. Yeah. So the way I formulated these, I even put anti-inflammatories in here like MSM. So women who have frozen shoulder or hip bursitis, or inflammation, fibromyalgia, you feel like the Tin Man when you get out of bed. It's got that to help with the inflammation. And all of this is all natural ingredients. And somebody asked me the other day, I can't remember if that was you, Elaine, but somebody asked me if it's animal testing or cruelty free, and it absolutely is. Our compounding chemist, our FDA approved facility. So super, super safe. And I did a lot. Oh, yes. I did a lot of research, months and months and months, to find the best of the best and the best formulas. And when we started out, I think, Elaine, you probably can relate to this, but when we started out, we were using mostly combo creams because I thought, oh, that would be so easy. And then I realized that just like in my practice, it gets tricky because we need to regulate different levels of the different hormones. So, and then we went through a few iterations. So our tribe that started out with this, they've been so supportive and wonderful because it's been a little bumpy, I'll just admit, but anytime you start a new business, it is. So I think we're going on 6 months now, but super, super exciting to be able to help women get testing and get hormones, progesterone, estrogen, and testosterone. Yes, so, and it is, but testosterone, we use DHEA as the topical because DHEA converts into testosterone. Testosterone can have its own side effects, which is what we see a lot when women get the pellets and they can get overdosed on testosterone. DHEA is kind of like when you're playing cards like poker and the ace can be a 1 or 11. DHEA can be either testosterone or any of the other androgens, or it could even convert to estrogen if you need that. So we really like that best. And we have other options too, but to do the nationwide, worldwide program, we try to steer clear of testosterone just so that women don't get greasy skin and acne and their hair falling out and weight gain. Because when you do that, it has to be monitored super, super closely. So it's just a lot easier that way. Funny story, in clinic today, I actually had a breast cancer patient who was about 6 months out from that. And we checked her levels and her testosterone was really high. And I've seen this before, and which is crazy that breast cancer doctors don't check these things, because if they're so worried about estrogen, which isn't even, if you go watch my videos, you'll see I talk about all of this a lot, but never checked an estrogen level, never checked a progesterone level, never checked a testosterone level. So this is funny. Her testosterone levels were extremely high. And I knew what it was because I've seen this before. But her husband is on testosterone cream and she was getting estrogen from that. So you would think that if a doctor was worried about cancer and estrogen, they would be checking those levels because testosterone can convert into estrogen. So, and she's absolutely miserable. I mean, she was having hot flashes and night sweats. So testosterone's not enough to convert to estrogen. But yeah, so if you guys have questions, please put them in the chat. And I'm here to answer your questions. I love to talk about this stuff. So if you want to do hormone testing, this is saliva testing that we do, and it measures what's in the tissues, not what's in the blood, because blood can fluctuate. And blood is not very stable. If we do blood, it has to go right out. It has to be refrigerated, and then it has to go right out, because if it's more than a day to the lab, it's no good. Saliva is very stable, and it can sit on the truck indefinitely, and it's still stable. And it measures what's in the tissues. So if you're on any medications that could interfere with your hormones or supplements, it tells us exactly how your tissues are converting the hormones. So if you're interested, you can go to hormonebliss.com, and if you use the code FLASH50, it's only $50 for the estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone kit. We also do thyroid testing and cortisol testing, but you'll see that when you go to this site. Certain point in your cycle. Okay, so if you're still having regular cycles, then try to do it right after ovulation. So usually they say 16 to 18. If your periods are irregular, it doesn't matter, because what we're going to look for is the ratio of your estrogen to progesterone balance. And we call that the estrogen progesterone ratio. So if you're perimenopause or your PCOS, you're having issues with estrogen dominance, like endometriosis or fibroids, then we can still get a measurement of what's going on with you. So yeah, so anytime. And postmenopausal, anytime, absolutely anytime. So I just want to share with you just a little bit. Please put your questions in the chat if you have them. But I love this little analogy when it comes to menopause. So this is my model here. This is your ovaries, and a baby girl is born with all the eggs you're ever going to have in your ovaries. And so if you think of the ovaries, this is my son's Easter candy. If you think of the ovaries like this little box, and these are the little eggs in your ovaries. These are actually jelly beans. But if you think about this, when you are about the age of 30, which if you look at hormone levels, this is when you're younger here. These are your higher hormone levels. And about the age of 30, you are down to about half of this box. And then at the age of 50, you're completely out. So that's what you have. And this thing doesn't make hormones anymore because it is the shell that the eggs develop in that actually make your hormones. So when you reach this point and you're starting to run out of eggs, you're starting to run out of progesterone first. Progesterone is responsible for your sleep, for inflammation. So you start getting puffy, you're not sleeping. Now you're not sleeping, so you got brain fog and you feel like crap and your joints are hurting because progesterone's your body's natural anti-inflammatory. And progesterone increases your levels of natural killer cells, which actually are part of your immune system that fight cancer. Concerns about synthetic versus bioidentical. So yes, synthetic are completely different. I always say it's the difference between a strawberry, an organic natural plant. Synthetic is like a strawberry candy, completely different chemicals. And insurance will cover bioidenticals if your plan has it on there, which very few of them do. But the estrogen patches, most of the time, if it's just an estradiol patch, are bioidentical. How fast we feel better if the right cream is made, how many tries typically it takes. So that's different for every single woman. And most of the time we get it right the first time, but some people, it takes a little bit of adjusting. And I think of it like one of those plastic puzzles that have like 9 squares in it, and you move one up and then you move one over. And so when you take medications and you take that and you have a side effect, we call those side effects because those are synthetic chemicals in your body that are triggering something bad to happen. When you take bioidentical hormones, we call those symptoms because it's symptoms of menopause or perimenopause. And then when you get hormones in, symptoms are now readjustments of what you had before, but now you have, more estrogen than progesterone, so you're not sleeping. So then we bring the progesterone up. So sometimes we have to adjust things, but you will feel like you're in your 30s by at least the first 4 to 6 weeks if you are consistent and you take the direction. And we also teach you how to adjust your levels as well so that you have your autonomy, you have your power. And part of it is we have not only the subscription with the creams, but we also have support and we work with you to get it right. And it always works. That's 100% guaranteed. And that's a really hard thing to get out there. And especially like when you go to your doctor and you ask for hormones or you ask for testing and they totally blow you off, or they just want to tell you you're crazy or you're just getting older. And even if they give you hormones, a lot of times it's just you get what you get and you don't throw a fit and you don't ask any questions and you just do what they say and you don't feel better because they're not actually working with you to get it dialed in. And again, every woman's different. So you just have to kind of stay the course with us, but we always get it. And our guarantee is you'll feel like you're in your 30s because that's when you have hormone levels, right? So it's not like this magic fountain of youth. It's just restoring what you once had. And we also, my fiance is probably putting that in there at some point. Hormones are just science. So fertility is all about getting the progesterone balanced. It's all about science. So what I've worked with women, fertility bliss, I've worked with women over the years to help them with fertility. And it's all just about getting the hormones balanced. And it's the same thing after menopause. What number of FSH is considered menopause? So she's talking about a hormone called FSH, which stands for follicle stimulating hormone. And what that means is if you look at an ovary, that's in my 60% off there. If you look at an ovary, every time an egg gets developed, there is a small sac around there called a follicle. And when that follicle develops, it triggers estrogen release from the ovary. So FSH is follicle stimulating hormone. And what that means is there's a gland in your head called the pituitary, and it tells your ovaries to make a follicle. So that FSH is like a mom talking to her kids. Well, after menopause, a year without period, that's all menopause is. When you have no eggs, the brain creates this hormone called FSH, and it's telling the ovaries to make estrogen, but there's no eggs in there, so there's no follicles to make estrogen, which is why we need hormone replacement therapy, because you have no estrogen after that. But the FSH, it's like a mom talking to the kids, but the kids have left the building. Your ovaries are completely dried up. So mom keeps saying, hey, where's the estrogen? Where's the estrogen? And so the FSH goes higher and higher. So she's asking, what level of FSH, how high does that hormone level become when you don't have ovaries anymore, when the oven's dried up, the bakery's closed down? So the FSH usually over about the level of, as it starts to climb over 12 to 15, we start kind of seeing that reserve is gone and the estrogen's declining. But anything over 20 or 25, we say that's empty, and you'll see that the estrogen levels drop out pretty quickly. So Claire says, I'm 39 years old, 42 FSH on day 3, AMH 0.1. So we see ovarian failure earlier and earlier. So a 42 FSH is pretty concerning for being able to get pregnant. So we have our program Fertility Bliss coming out, not saying that it's still not possible. If you regulate the hormones, you could get the FSH down. But the AMH is pretty much a measurement of how many eggs you have in your ovaries. So that gets a little tricky, but you might want to try it, because I've had women with low AMHs that still have gotten pregnant even after IVF and all the things. So adrenal glands take over after ovaries stop. You are absolutely right. However, when we have a lot of stress in the environment, a lot of times the adrenals can't compensate, and we have these things in our environment called endocrine disruptors. And when that happens, the adrenals are all jacked up. So if you have adrenal fatigue, yes. And God planned this for women not to suffer after menopause. So he gave us adrenal glands. But the problem is, if our adrenal glands aren't healthy, then they can't make all the same hormones. And the adrenal glands mostly make DHEA, which then can convert into your estrogens. But if you have a high cortisol and then you have a low cortisol from cortisol depletion, you're never going to make the same amount of hormones that your ovaries once made. Recommend switching to bioidentical and paying out of pocket. The synthetic is helping, but enough. So absolutely, help with adrenal fatigue too. Yeah, absolutely. So bioidentical, absolutely recommend it. And if you're interested in that, we do that. So it all starts with ordering a test kit. So if you go to hormonebliss.com and you use the code FLASH50, the testing is only $50. Hi, Mrs. K. Hello, my beautiful friend. So it's only $50, which is cheaper than a meal out. We go eat pizza and it's $60. Oh, thank you, honey, for the rose. That's so sweet. I'm so glad you're here. That's awesome. So when we do these flash lives, we have the test kits 60% off. So when you see it on the site, when you go to hormonebliss.com, you'll see it says $129. But if you put that code FLASH50 in, it'll take it down to $50. And that includes the test results and going over that, your symptoms, because we don't treat numbers, we treat people. And that includes the interpretation and the dosing of your bioidenticals. So that's what we do. And we dial it in. So whatever is going on with you, then we tell you to adjust things based on what's going on. So if you're not sleeping, we might increase the progesterone. And if you're feeling tired, we might increase the estrogen. If you have low libido, we'll work with you on your testosterone levels with DHEA. So we have lots of options there. So, oh yes, it is Mother's Day coming up. So if your mother needs hormones, please get her a test kit. Because buying flowers, I mean, flowers are like $50 if you get a decent set or decent bouquet. So for $50, you could literally not only change her life, but save her life too. So it would be a great gift. And for Mother's Day, like my dearest friend is 82, and she's like a mom to me. Or some of you have friends who are moms, and so sometimes we get our friends' Mother's Day presents, even if they're not our mother. But I do have a funny little story. I was doing a TV interview, and while I was waiting in the green room, there was Miss Arkansas back there, and she said, "What do you do?" And I said, "I am the hormone queen." And she said, "Oh my gosh, my mom needs you so bad." And she said, "But she won't. She just won't. She's scared of cancer." And so I was just thinking, that is so sad, because she, probably this girl is or has been on synthetic, oral contraceptives at one point. No doctor ever said that will cause cancer, but now because you're menopausal, you have to suffer. And again, bioidentical hormones are completely different than synthetic. It's all tailored to your specific needs. Get your test today. Thank you, Elaine. Thank you for that plug. I love it when our tribe is on here and tell you guys how powerful it is and life-changing and life-saving. So pickled bananas, yay, I love it. I love it. And then when I see you guys on the lives, because we do a monthly live Zoom with all our sisters and tribe, then it's so funny because I know you as pickled bananas. Like I knew Tacoma as Tacoma forever, and she was actually Dana. So it was like, oh, you're Tacoma. So it's so fun when I see you guys. So we do a monthly live. So that's part of when you do the subscription plan. And I have courses because I want to teach you guys all about hormones. And so you have your autonomy. Their real name is funny. I'm like, ooh, pickled bananas. So what is your real name, pickled bananas? Sometimes people are like, I don't want to put my real name out there, but it's always funny. It's crazy because on Facebook, everybody's real name, but on here, everybody likes to use the cool. I can't hide. I'm like Dr. Tammy everywhere, but that helps you guys find me. So I'm right now streaming on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn. So I'm everywhere. So I have to keep my name out there. Yeah. So, okay. So again, when we do these flash pop-ins, we always run a little flash sale. So if you've not ordered a test kit and you're not familiar with that, a lot of doctors will tell you that testing is not necessary. And that's just crazy. Miss Kay, we love you, Dr. Tammy. You're the bomb, the one woman probably in our lives that actually understand. Yay. Thank you, Miss Kay. I love that. That's so sweet. So yeah, so I think of the analogy like Get Friday. Oh, yeah. I love it. So I think of the analogy like a thyroid. If you had your thyroid removed, would they tell you don't need testing? Would they tell you they're just going to give you the smallest amount possible? That's absolutely ridiculous. And your ovaries are just as important as your thyroid. God says your pinky or your little toe is just as important as any part of your body. Turn around for results and timeline. So once you order the test kit and send it in, it takes about 10 to 12 days to get the results. Once the lab contacts us, then we reach out to you about going over your results and dosing your creams. And then once you decide you want to do our subscription plan and become a member in our program, it just takes 2 or 3 days, whatever the postal service takes to get you your creams. A lot of women are like, can you please, for the love of God, overnight my creams? It's like, okay, we can do that. But yeah, so all together, if you order the kit tonight, it'll go out first thing in the morning. So within 2 to 3 weeks, you could be not only changing your life, but saving your life. So absolutely love that. You guys are ordering kits. I love it. I always say it's like an angel got its wings, because that is one more woman when those come across that we're going to change their life. And I'm just so passionate about that. And like I was saying earlier, I had a moment, and I think the biggest thing was it was a clinic patient who was like saying, I'll cry when I think about this, but she was saying, I was thinking about how to end my life when I found you. And she's like, you saved not only me, but you saved my family. So, because losing a loved one to checking out is, one of the most devastating things. And a lot of women feel at that point that they feel so bad that it's just so sad that doctors are telling them you're just getting older, or you just need an antidepressant because you're depressed. I ain't depressed. I need some freaking hormones. And that's where we are. So we do bioidentical hormones. Yeah, it is true. We do bioidentical hormones. So the ovaries make more hormones than estrogen and more than just progesterone. So we do bioidentical hormone topical creams, and we are worldwide. So we can help women everywhere. Super excited. How do I feel about the patches? Right now, I'm having good results with those. So if you're having good results, that's great. You might still want to get testing just to see where you're at. So sometimes women are, amen, sometimes women are on patches, but they're told that they don't need progesterone, which is absolutely ridiculous because estrogen and progesterone balance each other out. And so if you're not on progesterone, you absolutely should be. So I'd highly recommend that you get your ovarian hormones tested, and that's what we do. Complete hysterectomy, and I got nothing left. I was on the patch for 10 years. Yeah, so definitely need some progesterone. Doctor acted like they didn't care. They did. I know. It's crazy. They're seeing 60 patients a day, and you get what you get, but they're wired to get that prescription pad out. So someone asked, how do you order? Okay, Dr. Mom. So you go to hormonebliss.com, or you can go to my picture up there. And I have 28,000 hearts. Thank you very much. Oh, and if you want to send me a heart, you just tap the screen. And I'm going to send myself a heart. Because why not send yourself some love, right? Which is what you're doing when you're ordering a test kit and getting on hormones. You're hearting yourself. So you go to hormonebliss.com. And when we do these flash pop-in lives, we run the discount code FLASH50. Well, we change the codes around sometimes, but it's FLASH50 right now. And make sure you don't put a space in between the H and the 5, because we've had people say it's not working. So FLASH50, and it makes the test kit only $50. So you want to put that flash code in at checkout, because it says it's $129, but when you put the code in, it's only $50. Getting the test kit, yeah, absolutely, I would, and just see, because if your progesterone's low, if your testosterone's low, we can treat that. Okay, what do the hormones cost a month? So we have different plans, and I always it sounds like I get a little shifty here because it sounds like I'm, trying to be evasive, and I'm really not. But when we get your results and we talk to you about what plan fits you best, we have everything from $149 to $249, depending on how much support you want. Do you want to be part of the tribe, and do you want to get in there and get all the support and the adjustments, or do you need just a little bit, and do you want to pay installments or pay in full? So $149 to $249 a month is usually what it works out to be. Hysterectomy, I was 35. I'm now almost 55. Oh, Lord, girl, that is 20 years without hormones. I have a crazy story. Oh, and how much is the cream? The cream is included in our programs, so you don't ever pay for the creams. And that's what the subscription part is about, is the creams are included. Yeah, he said, why would you want to cancel if you felt 30 again? Yeah, and it's crazy because, when you feel like that, how much more productivity do you have? How much could you start a business or be better at your work or better for your family? And some people spend $800 to $1,200 a month for insurance for their family, and it's like you get absolutely nothing. I had a lady today just tell me that she spent thousands of dollars trying to do tests and figure out what's wrong, and it's all just hormones and all misdiagnosed as fibromyalgia, and here's your gabapentin, or you're just depressed and here's your Prozac. So it's a small investment, and some people spend $150 just on supplements trying to feel better. I always say there's not enough supplements to replace your hormones. And the aging process, you lose about 30% of your collagen within the first year. How many women go and have plastic surgery, and how expensive is that when you just need hormones? If you want to have the skin of a 30-year-old, you have to have the hormones of a 30-year-old. Most women can't afford this. This is for the wealthy. So, you know, I know that that's a challenge. I wish insurance paid. I wish that it was more affordable. The cost of the creams and everything, my biggest mission is to keep it super affordable for women. Our cost alone on the product and the chemist and making everything available and the shipping and the program and the support and paying our staff, I wish it could be free. I wish it could be $20 a month, but compounding pharmacies, even in my practice, when I write prescriptions to compounding pharmacies, some women pay $150 a month just for their prescriptions, and that's not even for my expertise. So, felt 30 before February 2025, and now 0 progesterone, feeling 100. This is nuts. Yeah, Sherry, that's totally a thing. We're going to get you back to 30. Not used to 0 energy levels, so mentally deflating. Can't wait for my creams. I'm so excited, Sherry. Yes. We'll get you back to 30. I love it. So if you're interested in ordering a hormone test for your ovarian hormones, your estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone, you just go to hormonebliss.com and you put in the code FLASH50 and it makes it only $50. So just the testing alone is less than what the lab charges us to do it. And the reason we do that is because we want to make it affordable for women. And, you know, if you ever eat out even once a month and you pay $60 for dinner, this is less expensive than that. Or somebody pointed out the other day, it's like 4 trips through Starbucks. So, you know, it's like, that's just crazy because it's all, you know, it's all what your priorities are. And sometimes the sad thing is that women feel so bad and they feel like they've just taken care of everybody else, that there's this sort of this worthiness piece of like, I don't know, I'd rather spend that money on my kid's cell phone bill than, you know, on me. And that's so sad. And, you know, I really want women to focus on themselves just a little bit. And it's like the oxygen mask. If you don't put it on yourself first when you're on the airplane and you're losing pressure, if you're unconscious, you can't help anybody else. So I just really think, I get a little preachy about that, but I'm like, what is your quality of life worth? And people spend, you know, even just a single person can spend $400 to $600 a month on health insurance. That's what I spend. Actually, I just found a new plan that's less expensive, and I get nothing for that. I don't get my hormones for that. I don't get my supplements I get nothing for that, except the thought that if I have a, you know, catastrophic event, that I might not lose my house. That's really what insurance is for, right? It's not really to provide anything for you. So yeah, so if you want to get tested, your estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, just go to hormonebliss.com, and when you check out, it'll say $129 for the test kit. But if you put the code FLASH50 in, it's only $50. And when you get the test kit, all you do is, it looks like this. You open it up. There's a little tube. You put your saliva in here. Saliva is very accurate for what's in the tissues because the blood can fluctuate. So we want to look at what's in the tissues, and it's very stable and it's very affordable. If you go to a lab and a doctor sends you to a lab to get your blood drawn, I've had some people come back and say that it's been $1,200 to $1,500 just to get these 3 hormone tests done. And this is great because it's $50 and you don't have to go to a lab. You don't have to get stuck, and super affordable and super stable and convenient. You don't have to go anywhere. You just do it at home. And then you fill out the test requisition, and it has on here, if you still have ovaries or don't have ovaries, if you're on hormones now, if you're on the estrogen patch, but they told you that you don't need progesterone, which is ridiculous, tell us that, and we can tell you what your levels are. There's over 30 symptoms, and then you can rate it 0 to 3 in severity. And we have an algorithm that runs it. It's like you fill in these little blanks. It's like when you used to take a test when you were a kid, you know, and you fill in with your number 2 pencil, and it gives us an algorithm of what your symptoms correlate with your labs. So in this test, in the saliva test, that's the $50 one, we do estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone, the 3 main ovarian hormones. When you check out, you'll have the option to do more, the cortisol or the thyroid testing, but we start with this. So it's super affordable. It's a little bit more to do the other tests, but one of the biggest things that women don't realize is the number one cause of thyroid dysfunction is estrogen imbalance. So whether you're young and you're having an imbalance between your estrogen and progesterone, or you're postmenopausal when you have no estrogen, I see women come in all the time with thyroid dysfunction because of their estrogen imbalance. So once you fix that, I get women off thyroid hormone all the time. I'm not telling you to stop your thyroid, but I see it all the time, and it's very powerful. So the number two cause of thyroid dysfunction is autoimmune, and estrogen regulates pretty much everything in the gut, from your serotonin to your inflammation, your immune system. So especially after menopause, we see a lot of gut dysfunction. Estrogen regulates the acidity in your stomach that helps you break down food to absorb, regulates the biome, regulates the parasympathetic system, which tells your gut to empty or not empty, which this parasympathetic system also regulates your heart rate. So that's when you get the heart palpitations, because you need estrogen for that. So many women go to the ER, and I'm not telling you not to go to the ER. Go to the ER because their heart rate's 160 and they're told, oh, we don't know what's wrong. And then you go through the whole cardiology workup and everything. I'm not saying not to do that, but I am saying that women are like, why is my heart doing this? And they're just like, oh, just drink less caffeine, or, they just write you off. And menopause is crippling for a lot of women. I just want to stop the suffering. So, and then there's over 30 symptoms on here. So low libido. If your husband wonders if you love him, or you kind of wonder if you do too, that is a testosterone deficiency. That's an easy one to fix. Incontinence. Are you getting up all night to go to the bathroom? Do you feel urge incontinence, or, like you have to go now kind of thing? Vaginal dryness. Are you moody? Are you not sleeping? Of course, hot flashes and night sweats if you're postmenopausal. And menopause is just, the definition is a year without periods. I don't even like to use the term menopause. Nobody cares about having periods or not. That's great. What happens is the total dry up of your ovaries and what we call hormone depletion syndrome. So that is pretty crippling for a lot of women. So hair loss, cholesterol changes. How many women go and they're told, oh, your cholesterol is high? Cholesterol is high because you don't have estrogen to regulate the liver production of your cholesterol. And so now it's all off. You need estrogen to regulate the flexibility in your arteries. So you get high blood pressure, high cholesterol. What do? They stick you on cholesterol meds. I'm not telling you to stop your meds again. I always say that, so a disclaimer. They stick you on cholesterol meds to block your cholesterol. Worst thing you can do. Then they stick you on blood pressure meds, and they're like, oh, I don't know why your blood pressure went up. It's because you are imbalanced in your estrogen, because you need estrogen to regulate the flexibility in your blood vessels. So there's no coincidence that 30-year-olds, when they got all these hormones, don't have high blood pressure. They don't have high cholesterol. And then when you're here and you have no hormones, now you have high blood pressure, you have high cholesterol, you have dementia, you're breaking hips, your bones are drying out, you're getting osteoporosis. So there's no accident that's when that stuff happens. And then yet, when you're here and they want to stick you on synthetic birth control to make you look like you're here, because that's how you don't get pregnant, because you have no hormones. In fact, if you check a woman on birth control, her levels will look like menopause. That's what keeps you from getting pregnant. And when you look out here, this is where all the things happen. So if you put them on synthetic hormones, how can you say hormones cause cancer when they put you on birth control without even batting an eye? But when it comes to after menopause, when we are desperate for hormones, now it's like, oh, that causes cancer. And it's just simply not true. And if you are trying to get your hormones balanced and use bioidentical hormones, regulating those levels is not only safe and life-changing in the way you feel, but life-saving, because that's when all that crap happens, is when you have none. So it's super powerful. So I know we're running up on the hour. So if you guys have any questions, you can pop them in real quick. And if I didn't get your questions answered, because there are filters on here, I know, mind blowing, right, Miss K? I know. So if you have questions, you can always direct message me. And sometimes people message me afterward and they say, how do I order the hormone test? And so it is, you just go to hormonebliss.com, or you can click on my picture up there with my link there where it says 39,000 hearts. And that will take you to my main page with all my videos. And please, I'm begging you, please go watch my videos. And if you don't resonate with me and fall in love with me and think I'm cool, it's okay. But there are a lot of doctors out there who are talking about this stuff. So please listen, please. They have a mission, I have a mission, and I so want you to have your life, your health, your quality of life. And so watch my videos. I have free downloads. There's a link there, and you can click on the link and it'll take you to order a kit as well. Are those the only 3 hormones we should have checked? You have several different ovarian hormones. We start with the estrogen. Thank you, Lynn. We start with the estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. So that's our base, and that's only $50. So we love that because we can help women see what their baseline is. And that helps us know when we start dosing that we're getting it right, we're getting it close, because the algorithms are based on the symptoms and the numbers. And so we also have cortisol testing, thyroid testing. We also have urine metabolites for all the hormones, including melatonin and FSH. So we have all the testing, but the simplest way and the least expensive. And I like to keep it simple. So my hormone regimen is pretty much estrogen, progesterone, and DHEA. So I'm a busy girl and I feel great when I'm taking those 3. So we start with those 3. So yeah, so if you want to order, you just go to hormonebliss.com, and the discount code is /50. So it'll say it's $129 when you go to checkout, but when you put in the code /50, it's only $50. So, okay, so I'm going to pop off here. Y'all have a wonderful evening. I love you all so much. And please go to hormonebliss.com, read about what we do, read about getting on bioidentical hormones. Once you do the saliva test kit, there's a requisition, has all these symptoms on there that you can tell us what's going on. And then once you send the test kit in through UPS, we get your results, we reach out to you, and then we make a plan to dose your bioidentical hormones and get your life back. And not only life-changing, but life-saving. Okay, so y'all have a wonderful evening, and direct message me if you have any questions. Good night.